Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's tutorial, we're diving into advanced masking techniques that top professionals use to create stunning, polished visuals. By mastering these techniques, you'll elevate your content, setting yourself apart in the industry. Masking is essentially a technique used to define a specific area of your image or your video, so that you can apply adjustments or effects only to that defined region. Ultimately, it adds a layer of flexibility and creativity, making your final product more polished and professional. First of all, it allows you to add more contrast to your scene by isolating specific areas. For instance, you can create a vignette effect, drawing focus to the center of the frame, or you can bring out more detail in certain parts of the image while softening others. Masking also helps with color contrast, letting you warm up one area while cooling down another, which adds a lot of depth and dimension, again giving your footage a more professional and polished look. Cool, so let's dive into some examples here and I'll walk you through the thought process, the logic, and why I'm doing certain things with masks in DaVinci. So first up, let's have a look at this image here. We've got a nice shot of some grass in the field, and I was looking at this image and I was thinking, okay, what can I do to elevate it? So in my mind, I'm thinking, right, on the outside here, I would like more of a vignette. So I want to darken the outside. Then we'll bring attention to the center of the frame, so to the actual grass. And then I'm thinking, well, I also want to increase the mid-tone detail in the center of the frame to bring more attention again to the center part. And then I'm also thinking I want to add some blue to the shadows on the outside and some warmth to the center to give that color contrast as well. We've got our three masks here. So the first one, we've added that vignette. So we've used the power window here, a circle, and then we've gone into our curves layer and we've pulled that down, bringing that vignette into the frame. So now instantly we've got more attention. Then in our primary color wheels here, in the primary colors, I've added a bit more blue into those shadows as well. Then next here, we've got our mid-tone detail. So you can see if I look at the center of the frame with that on, you can see how we're getting more detail, more of the details are coming to life, as well as that warmer touch as well to contrast with the shadows on the outside. Finally, we've added a third power window, and then we've lifted the gain on that one just to brighten up the center, bring more focus and more attention to that part of the image. So if I do before and after, you can see how powerful just a couple of masks can actually make on the scene. So let's look at a slightly more complex example. You saw in that previous example how simple it was. This one, I'm going to show you how I set up my masking in a parallel structure. Right click, add a node, and then add a parallel. So then I'll just click this one and then just press Option P, Option P, Option P. And you can see we have added a bunch of parallel nodes. Now, why do we use parallel nodes when we are creating masks? So each one of these nodes, I'll apply a mask inside that node, and each node is receiving a clean signal from the previous node here. So it'll essentially allow us to have smoother blending between if there's any overlap on the masks. For example, if I've got two circular masks together, that middle bit could get too dark. Let's say if I'm bringing down the gain, where if I do it in a parallel mixer, that overlap is going to get blended nicely together. That's why we use this structure, especially for more complex masking. Now, what do we want to do with this image, right? So I'm thinking with this image, I want the attention to be in the center of the frame. I want the nose to have more detail. I want the outside to be a bit darker. I want this top bit of the nose to be a bit brighter, to stand out a bit more, and generally have the focus around this center part of the dog's face. So first up, I'll just add in a simple circular mask for the vignette, and I'll just stretch it out. I'll also feather it and bring it out like that. So now we've got a nice smooth feathered circular mask. I'll go into my curves here and I'll just start pulling it down. Sorry, let me just invert that and pull it down. So you can see now as I bring that down, the outside of the frame is getting darker and already we're getting more attention on the center of the dog's face. So before and after. So I want this dog's nose to have a bit more detail. I want this to really sort of catch the attention and pop a little bit. So what I'll do here, I'll add a circular mask, and then I'll head into mid-tone detail. So if I zoom in to the dog's nose, and then if I start to increase that mid-tone detail, you can see we're getting more texture, more definition. And then what I'll do is I'll just lift the gain slightly. So we got a bit more brightness before and after. And then I'll bring down the lift just to darken those darker areas. Just bringing in contrast. This part of the dog's nose here, I want this white to stand out and this black bit to be a little bit darker. So let's head in, go to the gain. Let's start to lift that up. You can see we're getting a bit more brightness there. And then I'll bring down the lift. So any darker bits are going to get darker. Again, just bringing in very specific contrast to that section of the scene. So when I'm video editing, I'm all about saving time, efficiencies, and really speeding up my workflow. So what I've done is I've built a power grid library of over 40 node trees that you can drag and drop onto your footage to really speed up your edits. So for example, if you've got a scene here, I've got a vignette power window, I'll just drag and drop. And then before and after, you can see instantly we've got that vignette added to the shot. Now, there's also things like sky adjustments, there's mid-tone detail as well, so I can add that to the shot. And we've got all these node trees, there's over 40 of them, and essentially they're drag and drop adjustments that you can just drag on to each of your nodes to quickly and effectively get results in DaVinci Resolve. I'll also be releasing a mini course, so there's going to be a 120-page ebook with over 3 hours of video on the foundations of color grading. So I've got that with a whole bunch of bonus assets, so keep an eye out for that one as well. It should be in the link once I've got that posted. If you've got any questions, please leave comments, please reach out. I'm always available for talking, and I'm always available to answer any questions around color grading and to really help you, start to level up your video edits. So thanks again, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.